read 37 books in the month of September. Let's do a yes, no, maybe on if I would recommend them. And Pal by J.T. Geissinger. It was twisty and unexpected in ways. So if you're looking for something that is spicy with twists and turns that I didn't expect all of them, like, I would recommend. It is a spicier book. I also read House on Mango Street. This was one that I revisited from my childhood because I saw the author speak at book festival. It gives insight into the experience of minorities throughout the United States and what it's like to grow up in those communities. I do not recommend my next read, Her Majesty's Royal Coven. I went in expecting something and it did not deliver necessarily what I was expecting, and that was probably my fault for going in blind. I want escapism in my fantasy. There was not enough escapism in this book for me to enjoy it. The conversations that the author wanted to have, very important, very poignant. To me, it overwhelmed the rest of the book, especially because I read fantasy to escape political discourse. Next was Once Upon a Broken Heart series. I did read all three in very quick succession. I think I finished all three in like 2 days. Once Upon a Broken Heart, A Curse for True Love, and The Ballad of Never After. I enjoyed all of these. Such a sweet, like, young adult fantasy. I will be revisiting this world again, I am sure. Secret Lives of Booksellers and Librarians. I really enjoyed this nonfiction. It has vignettes from various booksellers and librarians and how they got into the work that they got into. I then read an arc for Spell Ya Later by Zoe Shae. It's a nice little small town witchy romance. I then read The Briar Club with my neighborhood book club. This one was a great historical fiction. Definitely recommend. I definitely recommend The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. I really enjoyed this. If you're a fan of the Unhoneymooners, I think you would like this. One of their best, like, summer romance reads. Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. It was okay. I think I liked it better than the first book in the Rose Hill series, but Gold Rush Ranch is still my favorite of hers. I would recommend if you want to read a country singer having a small town romance with a single dad. I then dove headfirst into Molly Harper's Mystic Bayou series. I read all of the books in that series. If you're looking for a shifter romance that's low on spice, this one might be for you. There is spice in it, but it's like one scene. I then read an arc of If It Makes You Happy by Olivia. This is the perfect fall rom-com. It is so nostalgic with the perfect 90s references. Small town, grumpy female inn owner, cinnamon roll single dad baker. I loved it. It was very, very enjoyable. I then listened to What's Next, a Backstage Pass to the West Wing. I had to pick up a physical copy because there are pictures. So if you're a fan of this series, I definitely recommend this. It was a great look at the writing, casting, and production of The West Wing. I then listened to the audiobooks for The Proposal and Remembrance. These are two books that are in addition to the Mediator series by Meg Cabot. I loved the Mediator series when I was in high school. It was fun to revisit that world. I'm still not sure how I feel about these two books, particularly Susie's like progression or lack thereof of progression into her 20s. Jessie was really fun to see in this new role. So if you were a fan of the Mediator series and didn't know that Meg Cabot released 2 more books, now you do. Such Charming Liars by Karen M. McManus, same author of One of Us is Lying. It's a jewelry heist with lots of family drama and trauma. It was good. I'm not raving about it, but it was good. I then listened to Julia Whalen read Educated by Tara Westover. Holy cow. Wow. If you haven't read it, read your trigger warnings and then read it because there's some heavy stuff in that book. Great discussion on leaving an abusive family relationship, the dynamics at play in that, and getting an education. Wreck and Ruin kept popping up on my TikTok algorithm. I finally caved and listened to the first book. It is duet narration, and it's like unexpectedly cinnamon rolly motorcycle club. I tried explaining it to my husband the other day, and I think the words I used was like, well, yeah, there was arson, but it was like, oh, there was arson, fun arson, instead of like, I'm gonna burn the world down arson. And he chuckled and wondered if I needed some help. I then immersed myself in the Evie Dunmore Bringing Down the Duke, and the next two books in the series. I have not finished the series yet. I'm gonna read book 4 very, very soon. I went head first and devoured this series. Is it the best Regency romance? No. Suffragettes and blue stocking women rebelling against societal expectations and then getting very smutty? Yes. I ended the month with How to Sell a Haunted House. This was my neighborhood book club's pick, and we were all kind of disappointed. Like, it was not as good as I was expecting. If you like horror that's not really gory, this one's good. All of us felt like the last portion of the book wasn't necessary. It was almost as if he wrote the book, the publisher came back and said, dude, we need 5 more chapters, and so we got 5 more chapters. I did appreciate the use of the grief cycle, so I will talk more about it in a full review. I'm on the fence, maybe. That's what I read in the month of September. What did you read in the month of September?